Good evening, students. How are you doing today? How was your Sunday? For people enjoyed the class, for them, I know it was a good Sunday. But for people who missed yesterday's class, how was your day? How was your weekend? And so today is the last topic of my session. So I'll be taking the last topic, which is value of supply, and then you will have another faculty taking up other topics. Good. So we have discussed various topics. What is a charge? What is a value? What is the time of supply? And what is a place of supply? And what are the various exemptions? Okay. We will move now to what is the value of supply. Okay. Now we understood various concepts. Now we have to understand on what value you have to pay GST. We know that there is a GST rate. We know when it should be paid because in the time of supply that is covered. Why GST it should be paid? Because it's a charge. So from the charge we got to know that. Now we will see on what value should we pay the GST. Okay. So first is GST we know is levied under section 9. GST is a tax on supply which is on the supply on what value? On a value which is determined under section 15 and at the specified rates. So GST is on value which is determined under section 15 and at the specified rates. Okay, so that is the basic introduction for this value. Why should we know the value? Because on now you have made a supply. Now I have made a supply to one customer at 100 rupees to another supply customer at 120 rupees. So on what value should I pay GST? What do you think? If I made supply at 100 rupees and 120, then what do we do? Yes, Nagraju. Good to see that Namma Bengaluru guy here. Mayur, yes, you could ask your questions on the number which I've shared so that we could discuss. Time of supply and place of supply have same section? No, different section. Place of supply is under IGST. Time of supply is under CGST. So there are two different sections, same section numbers, but different acts. Okay, time of supply is 12 and place of supply is also 12, but under the IGST Act. Okay, so few people are saying 120, few people are saying 100. Value at which you sold. Okay, I've sold 100 to one customer and 120 to another customer. So isn't not discriminatory that I have sold the same product at two different rates? Tanishka, the number is 9886111814. GST on 120 and 100 respectively. Okay. At 20 rupees, GST will be payable since the GST on 100 is already paid. No, my question is not that I'm selling 100, then 120. I'm selling to one customer at 100 and to another customer at 120 rupees. But MRP. So the MRP is 150 rupees. Good twist in the sequence. The MRP is 120 rupees. To one customer, I've sold at 100 and to another customer, I've sold at 120. Now tell me on what value should I pay GST? Good evening, Parthasarthi. On respective sale price, that is 100 and 120. Good. So most of you all know that it is possible at cost. No, it can't be at cost. You can't charge GST at cost. If you charge at cost, then on your margins, if you don't pay GST, then there is no GST on the value additions. So GST cannot be on cost. It should be on the selling amount. Like many people are saying, it should be at 100 and 120 respectively. Few people are saying that it should be at 150 because MRP is 150. Now, MRP is the maximum retail price. I cannot sell anything above that, but there is no bar or there is no restriction that I cannot sell below that, right? So I can sell a product at below the MRP also, and it is not necessary that my GST should be on 150 only. So this is called as transaction value. Okay. Yes, Padimari Devi. Pagidimari Devi, your answer is correct. That should be on 220. So 100 for one customer, 120 for another customer. I can have differential pricing, right? It is not necessary that I should charge one price to all my customers. Depends on a lot of things. On the customer to whom I sold at 100 rupees, he will buy more goods from me in the future. So I've reduced my price for him. Possible. And to the customer whom I'm selling at 120, he's a one-time buyer, so I've charged him higher price, so that's possible. So the discretionary part, what I said, is possible because you negotiate with your customer at various prices. Whatever prices you have negotiated, that is your consideration, that is your sale consideration, and on that value you have to charge GST. Wow. So you have gone one step ahead, Mayur. You have said that should we have to see the nature of transaction, whether it is RCM transaction, exempt supplies. Yes, that is very true. So any transaction, if I'm selling on which RCM is payable by the recipient, then I will not charge GST, right? And where I charge to the recipient exempt, where I sell a exempt goods, there also I will not charge GST. That is all true. So my transaction value is before the GST. So if I say that this is the value plus GST, then whatever value price I have agreed at with my customer, that is the transaction value. So the GST is on transaction value. Now this duty, generally duties could be ad valorem or specific duty. When we say it is ad valorem, it means it is a percentage on the value. Okay, that is called as ad valorem, wherein the duty could be ad valorem or it could be specific duty levy. When it is ad valorem, it is a percentage on the value of goods or the value of services. When it is specific duty levy, it is fixed rate, saying that whatever is the value, I don't care, on a per quintal basis, per kg basis, I will charge you the GST. That is called as specific duty levy. So these are examples how taxes can be levied. In customs, we have seen that some kind of goods like cigarettes are based on the length of the cigarette. Okay, not on the value. You could sell at any value, but it is on a specific length of the cigarette. Certain machineries on their production capacity, GST, customs duty was levied or excise was levied. So there are two methods of levying taxes, but GST follows ad valorem and there is no specific duty levy under GST. So on the value of the goods, GST will be levied. So before understanding what it is, we are seeing that my screen is not visible. Thanks for letting me know that. So that is how the GST is levied on a value and not on the specific product or the specific or any specification. It is always on the value. Time of supply of goods in RCM is 30 days. Yes, 30 days from the date of supply, right? So it becomes on the 31st day you have to pay the RCM. So it is 30 plus 1, 31. Do one example question writing practice so we can get an idea. Sure, Aisha, you've been asking from last class. So we will take one question and we will see how we should answer it. Okay, so we understood that duty could be ad valorem or specific. In GST, it is always ad valorem. Now, before getting into the valuation, there are some important definitions which we will go through. Okay. So, the definition of an agent, because when I supply to the customer or his agent, or when a supply happens to a principal to the buyer, and the buyer says you deliver it to my customer, or the customer says it deliver it to my agent, then also it is equivalent to supplying it to the recipient itself. So similarly, when the agent sells on behalf of the principal, then the sale is that of the principal and not of the agent. So from that perspective, who is an agent? Agent could be any person who is acting, who carries on business of supply of goods or services on behalf of another. Who is an agent? Agent could be any of these people, basically who was carrying on business of supply of goods or services on behalf of another. So when an agent carries on a business on behalf of the principal, then he is an agent. Now, agent could be called by any of these terms. It could be a factor, a broker, a commission agent, a arhatya, a del credar agent, a auctioneer, or a mercantile agent. So remember the definition ABCDFM. Okay, the nomenclature could be used. So any person, any of these 7 category of people who is carrying on business of supply of goods or services on behalf of the another, that is on whose behalf he is doing it, he is an agent. Now, these terms, who is an arhatya? Arhatya is a agent wherein he does transaction on behalf of the principal. So in nomenclature is different, but he is also an agent. Okay, and so arhatya is also an agent, Nenshi and Tanshika, that who does a transaction between two people is called a arhatya. There are two types of arhatya, kacha arhatya and pakka arhatya. So who does any transaction on behalf of the principal. And we know del credar agent. Del credar agent means an agent who not only acts as an agent, but he also ensures that the recipient will pay the amount to the seller. So that's why he charges extra brokerage. He is a del credar agent. Now, these agent carries on the business of supply of goods or services on behalf of the principal. He is an agent. Next, what is the consideration? You have seen this. Consideration means the payment in money or otherwise for supply by the recipient or any other person. Okay, payment in money. What is a consideration? Any payment in money or otherwise, which means that consideration can be in money or non-money terms also. So that's why in the definition of supply, barter is also included. When barter is included, it means the consideration can flow from terms of money, or it could flow in terms of other supply also. So any payment in money or otherwise for the supply by the recipient or any other person, okay, is consideration. Various modes of consideration. The first is payment in money or otherwise. Second is monetary value of any act or forbearance for the supply. Monetary value of any act or forbearance for the supply by the recipient or any other person. So first is I can make the payment for buying something, or I can make the payment for not doing something. Okay, you have seen the 5-star ad where a person who doesn't do anything but still he's thanked. कुछ नहीं करना भी अच्छा है. So sometimes when we pay for the other person not to do something, that is called forbearance of an act. That you find monetary value of any act of forbearance for the supply. One is doing something, one is forbearing. कि तुम ये चीज मत करो, उसके लिए भी मैं पे करूंगा. That is forbearance. Okay, that forbearance also for which you get consideration is for which you get amount is a consideration. So monetary value of any act or forbearance for the supply is a consideration by the recipient or any other person. Why this word is relevant is the money, the consideration could be paid by the recipient or any other person also can pay. It is not necessary that the consideration should flow from the person who is buying. If any other person pays, that is also a consideration. Now, it excludes subsidy given by the central government and state government. So, consideration can come either as an amount from the receiver or it could come from the government. How can it come? When I am supplying some school bags to a government school. Okay. Now, when I supply to the government school, I will be charging 100 rupees, right? But the children can't afford it. So the government is saying you sell at 40 rupees, 60 rupees we will give you as a consideration. So once part we are saying that the consideration for whom I am selling it to, I am selling it to the government. Now I am selling it to the school. The consideration can come from the school or the government. So first is for that 40 rupees, the recipient is the school. And for that 60 rupees, the recipient is the government. So I should get charged fully on 40 plus 60 because my sale value is not reducing. It is still the same at 100 rupees. 40 I am getting from the school and 60 from the government. But it is in the nature of subsidy, and this subsidy, when it is coming from the central government or state government, then it is not included in the consideration, because the reason of giving you the subsidy by the government is to reduce your price, and if I charge the GST again, then the price will increase. So only those considerations which is in the nature of subsidy from the central government or state government is excluded. Okay, the deposit is to be considered. Okay, this we thought of this, we discussed this. Payment in money or otherwise, monetary value of any act of forbearance, then recipient by the consideration can be from the recipient or any other person, it excludes the subsidiary. Then the fourth aspect is deposit. Is normally deposit considered as a consideration? Generally, deposit is not a consideration. But deposit to be considered as consideration, to be considered as payment, only when the supplier applies such deposit as a consideration for the said supply. So I made a deposit to the seller. Now the I am selling some goods. Now when I am selling some goods to a distributor, I don't know whether this distributor is a good distributor or no. Will he sell my goods fully or no? So to make him as a distributor, I have collected some amount of deposit from him, so that tomorrow, if he is not paying my money, I can use this deposit. So to start that distributorship, I asked him to pay a deposit of 5 lakhs. This is only a deposit. This is a returnable money. So it can't be a consideration because this is not for the sale of goods, but this is a deposit that in case he makes a default, I can adjust. So this 5 lakh is a deposit. When he gives me this deposit, it is not a supply. Okay, because deposit is excluded from the definition of consideration. But say after 3 years, I've made him some sale to him and he didn't pay me the money, and I've utilized this consideration for my consideration of this supply. So when I use this deposit, when I apply this deposit as a consideration for the said supply, then it is a consideration, not otherwise. So till the time it is available with me to repay him, it is not a consideration. But the time when he defaults and I adjust this with my sale value, then it is a consideration. Clear? Now this, in electric vehicle customer gets subsidy, then how consideration will be calculated by the showroom? So in this electric vehicle case, the consideration is flowing to the customer directly, not to the showroom person. If it comes to the showroom person, then it is a consideration. If the subsidy does not come to him, so that's why we have said that by the recipient, excluding subsidy given by central government or state government. and the subsidy is given by the central government. That's why such subsidy is excluded from the value of the vehicle. Okay, excluding subsidy given by central government, state government, but doesn't include government entities or government agencies. Yes. So any kind of subsidy coming to you other than central government and state government can be from a government entity or government agency, or it could be a NGO, it could be anybody. If they are paying you some kind of subsidy, then it is not excluded, it will be part of the value. Which means what? This same example of a bag which I gave you, now there is a NGO, okay, and I am a manufacturer of bag. NGO wants the bag of 100 rupees. When I sell this bag to NGO 100 rupees, NGO cannot afford. They went to a company. Okay, the company said, okay, we will bear 90 rupees of your cost. You sell to the NGO 10 rupees only. Am I reducing my price? I am not reducing my price. Only I am getting consideration of 10 rupees from the NGO and 90 rupees from the company. Now, when this subsidy comes from the company, we have said that subsidy is to be excluded. So, will this 90 rupees be excluded from the value and GST is payable only on 10 rupees? What do you feel? Okay. अभी ठीक है. Okay. Okay, so you mean to say it is not excluded? It means everybody is saying that GST is payable on the whole 100 rupees. Okay, so GST is payable on the whole 100 rupees itself because the supply is on the whole value of the supply itself, and this subsidy which is coming for this supplier of bag of 90 rupees, this is still coming from a non-government entity. It is not coming from the central government or state government. So on this GST will be payable. So this consideration for him will be 100 rupees. On 90 plus 10, he will charge the GST. ठीक है. कंसिडरेशन क्या होता है? कंसिडरेशन जो मैं सप्लाई करता हूं उसके एक्सचेंज में जो मुझे वैल्यू मिलता है वो है कंसिडरेशन. कंसिडरेशन का 4 भाग में हम लोग डिवाइड कर देते हैं. फर्स्ट इज कंसिडरेशन मनी में आना चाहिए और अदरवाइज नॉन मनी में भी अगर आता है तब भी वो कंसिडरेशन है. सेकेंड इज मॉनेटरी वैल्यू ऑफ एनी एक्ट ऑफ फोरबियरेंस, अगर मैं कोई एक्ट को फोरबियर करने के लिए कुछ सब मनी देता हूँ, वो भी कंसिडरेशन है कि मैं सामने वाले के बोलता हूँ आप मेरे ऊपर केस फाइल मत करो। ठीक है, जब एक कॉन्ट्रैक्ट लेता हूँ, मैं कॉन्ट्रैक्टर हूँ, अब मैं उसको एक अमाउंट देता हूँ कि आप मेरे ऊपर केस फाइल मत करो, मैं आपका काम खत्म कर दूंगा, दैट इज कॉल्ड एज लिक्विडेटेड डैमेजेस। तो ये लिक्विडेटेड डैमेजेस भी एक तरह का कंसिडरेशन है। नाउ ये कंसिडरेशन रिसिपिएंट पे कर सकता है या और कोई पे कर सकता है, जो रिसिपिएंट है उसी को पे करना ये जरूरी नहीं है, रिसिपिएंट के अलावा कोई और पे करता है वो भी कंसिडरेशन है। और जो सब्सिडी गवर्नमेंट से मिलती है, गवर्नमेंट का मतलब क्या है, गवर्नमेंट एंटिटी, गवर्नमेंट एंटरप्राइजेस, पब्लिक सेक्टर एंटिटीज, ये नहीं है, सिर्फ सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट और स्टेट गवर्नमेंट ही गवर्नमेंट है। और चौथी चीज हो गई डिपॉजिट। डिपॉजिट को आप कंसिडरेशन नहीं मानोगे क्योंकि डिपॉजिट जो है वो रिटर्न करने के लिए है। तो जब कंसिडरेशन रिटर्न करने के लिए होता है तो वो कंसिडरेशन नहीं है, जो भी अमाउंट आप रिसीव करते हैं रीपे करने के लिए वो कंसिडरेशन नहीं है। लेकिन ये कंसिडरेशन, ये जो डिपॉजिट है उसे आप सप्लाई के साथ जब एडजस्ट कर लेते हो तब वो डिपॉजिट कंसिडरेशन का रूप ले लेता है। जैसे मैंने 100 रुपए की 1 लाख रुपए की चीज बेची है और डिपॉजिट मेरे पास 5 लाख है, तो फिर मैं 5 लाख को 1 लाख के साथ ऑफसेट कर सकता हूँ? नहीं कर सकता हूँ। 1 लाख का उसका पेमेंट मुझे अलग से मिलना चाहिए। ठीक है, तो 1 लाख का सप्लाई जो है वो अलग है, वो डिपॉजिट 5 लाख अलग रहेगा। लेकिन मैंने 2-3 महीने वेट कर दिया है, मेरा कस्टमर पे नहीं कर रहा है, तब मैं बोलूंगा उसको कि मैं तुम्हारे डिपॉजिट जो है उसके साथ एडजस्ट करूंगा। तो जब मैं अप्लाई कर रहा हूँ उस डिपॉजिट को, जैसे मैं ऑफसेट कर रहा हूँ उस डिपॉजिट को, तब ये डिपॉजिट कंसिडरेशन बन जाएगा। तब तक वो डिपॉजिट डिपॉजिट ही है। ठीक है। दिव्या कुमारी, विच रिंग? बार्टर सिस्टम में जीएसटी लगेगा? हाँ, बार्टर सिस्टम में जीएसटी लगेगा, हम लगाते भी है। आप बोलिए प्रैक्टिकल केस। जैसे आप मोबाइल फोन खरीदने जाते हो और पुराना मोबाइल देते हो, तो फिर जो आप 20,000 का मोबाइल खरीदते हो और पुराना मोबाइल है आपका 12,000, तो आप क्या जीएसटी सिर्फ 8,000 पे बोलते हो या पूरे 20,000 पे? या द बिलिंग विल बी स्प्लिट इनटू टू, और वन बिलिंग कैन बी स्प्लिट इनटू टू। द बिलिंग विल नॉट बी द क्राइटेरिया, बट practically billing will be split into two. गुंजन कुमार, समझ में आ गया बार्टर पे कैसे लगता है जीएसटी? Can instead of deposit any asset will be considered? Generally not, because any other asset is a barter only. But in case of a deposit, it is a value. It is in terms of money value. That's why deposit is considered. ठीक है, लेट्स मूव अहेड टू द डेफिनेशन ऑफ मनी। ये कल भी क्वेश्चन था कि मनी क्या है, डज इट मीन फिजिकल मनी एंड थिंग लाइक दैट। ये डेफिनेशन क्लैरिफाई कर देता है कि वेयर आई टाइम ऑफ सप्लाई इज एडवांस रिसीव्ड, और कल डिस्कस कर रहे थे कि वेयर मनी इज रिसीव्ड आर द इनवॉइस इज रेज्ड विच एवर इज अर्लियर। ओके, सो इट कुड बी मनी रिसीव्ड और इनवॉइस रेज्ड विच एवर इज अर्लियर। मनी रिसीव्ड का मतलब डज इट मीन फिजिकल मनी? नहीं, money include any of these things. It could be Indian legal tender, foreign currency, check, promissory note, bill of exchange, LOC, letter of credit, draft, pay order, traveler's check, money order, postal or electronic remittance, or any other instrument which is recognized by RBI when it is used as a consideration to settle an obligation. When I am settling my obligation or exchange with Indian legal tender of another denomination, okay, that is a called as money. Now it excludes the currency held for its numismatic value. जैसे मेरे पास 2,000 का नोट है, एक्सक्यूज मी, उसे कोई लेगा, विल इट हैव अ वैल्यू ऑफ 2,000? आई एम जस्ट होल्डिंग इट फॉर इज न्यूमिस्मेटिक वैल्यू, कि जब इसका प्राइस बढ़ेगा then I will hold it for its numismatic value. So whenever I hold any currency for its numismatic value, then that value, that is not a money then, because I'm not holding it to trade in it, or I'm not holding it to use it as a consideration for any goods. So any a currency which is held for its numismatic value is not a money. जो लोग उधार पैसे पे, ब्याज पे, गिरवी वाले हैं, पान ब्रोकिंग है, जो पैसे देते हैं, उसमें ना तो गुड्स इन्वॉल्व है ना तो सर्विस इन्वॉल्व है। इंटरेस्ट एक इन्वॉल्व है, लेकिन इंटरेस्ट का हमने देखा है कि व्हेन आई एम गिविंग सम मनी, ही विल रीपे इट टू मी इन ईएमआई, और ही विल पे इट द मनी विथ इंटरेस्ट। ठीक है। सो जब वो इंटरेस्ट के साथ पे करेगा, देन इंटरेस्ट इज अ सर्विस, बिकॉज द डेफिनेशन ऑफ सर्विस इज एनीथिंग अदर देन गुड्स। सो क्या इंटरेस्ट सप्लाई हो जाएगा? इट कैन बी. So that's why there is an exemption for interest, which says that if there is an interest payment, then it is excluded. So that's why whenever somebody gives loan and gets the money back, it is outside the GST perspective. Forbearance of supply, मैंने कहा था ना दैट forbearance of supply की मैंने सप्लाई किया है, now I have not completed my supply completely, then the other person can file a case against me saying that I have not fulfilled my contract. So to stop him from doing anything, I am paying the damages to him. Okay, that is generally in contractual terms called as liquidated damages. So once I give this liquidated damages, this is to forbear him from doing some act. So this is an example of forbearance, and this transaction is liable to GST. Simple value of numismatic value, whatever old coins you have, old notes you have, you are holding it for its numismatic value. That is an example of numismatic value. In case of barter, who is the supplier, who is the recipient? Both are supplier, both are recipient. For the goods which I give you, I am the supplier, and in return, what you give me, you are the supplier for that. So both are suppliers. For the goods, what I sell you, I am the supplier, you are the receiver. In return, what services you provide to me, you are the supplier and I am the receiver. Draft means demand drafts. Indian legal tender means the Indian currency जो है, जो Indian legal tender है, जो Indian notes है, coins है, that is Indian legal tender. Aisha, how do we decide the notes? I decide the notes based on the importance. Okay, that doesn't mean you should leave off, but the important aspects once you cover, then the concept becomes clear. That's why I highlight the important ones. So it's just based on experience, because we have read from starting to beginning to end, and we understand the whole scenario. That's how we come to a judgment which is to be included and which is not. Postal or electronic remittance. So in postal also you can do remittance, right? So that is called postal remittance, or any kind of electronic transfers. You do NEFT, RTGS, all of these electronic remittance is also transaction money itself. So either you give a check or do online remittance, all of this is transaction in money. Okay. बार्टर में बोथ पार्टीज जीएसटी के लायबल होंगे? हाँ, दोनों पार्टीज जीएसटी के लिए लायबल होंगे। बट आप समझिए, जो मैंने एग्जांपल दिया था कि मोबाइल फोन परचेज करने के लिए आप अगर जब पुराना फोन बेचते हो, तो क्या आप जीएसटी पे करते हो? नहीं पे करते हैं, क्योंकि हम लोग व्हेन आई एम सेलिंग अ ओल्ड मोबाइल एज अ कस्टमर, I am not selling it in the nature of business. I am not into the business of mobile, and I am not, even if you consider that one time, that business definition says even one time if you do something, it's a business. But I am not registered under GST because my value is less. So that is another point. So there are various reasons why on the barter transaction, you don't pay GST. And when the mobile company, जो mobile phone dealer है, he will charge GST on the whole value, then reduce this value. Okay. Now everybody is asking what is the meaning of numismatic value? Numismatic value means numismatic is the study or collection of currency, including coins, tokens, paper money, metals, and related objects. So anything which you are holding it, numismatic value is the value of a seller, the value a seller receives for the sale of a collection of coins. So any collection of coins which you are having, that is called as a numismatic value. Because then 100 rupees old note which I have, the value of that is not 100 based on the numismatic value. So it will be sold at a higher price. So then that itself becomes a goods. That's why such numismatic value, coins and currencies which are held for numismatic values are outside the value of, outside the definition of money. I have 100 rupees note which somebody's, or a 1 rupee note, the old 1 rupee note, if you say that is being sold at say 100 rupees. So if I say that it is a money, then the value is not justifiable. Ki I am getting 100 rupees, I am not paying GST. So that's why on such 1 rupee note which is being sold because of its numismatic value, it will be treated as a goods. Yeah. Good question, Aisha. So in the case where the barter transaction is there, I am registered under GST and I exchange my GST, exchange my mobile. I am registered under GST and I have hold a mobile. I bought a mobile, that time I claim the credit. Now I'm selling the mobile, that time I am liable to pay GST. So once you have used the asset for business, right, then any transaction you do of that thing which is in the business, like the mobile phone, a chair, or any office furniture, then it is liable to GST. Because business, any supply done in the business, and business includes the main business and any ancillary activities. So that's the reason anything of this mobile phone sold in the business is liable to GST. Okay. Now let's get into the definition of related supply. Related party. Who is a related party? A person is treated as deemed as related if such persons are officers or directors of one another's business. Okay, you are common directors, officers of one another's business, then you are related. Then if such persons are legally recognized business, if you are partners who are legally recognized, then also you are related. Then if such persons are employer and employee of the company, the employer and employee are treated as related persons. Any person directly or indirectly owns, controls, or holds 25% or more of the outstanding voting stock or shares of both of them. So if you're holding more than 25% voting rights, then also you are a related person. One of them directly or indirectly controls the other. So if the controlling power is there with the other person, even then they are related. So from here we could see that any kind of a holding company, holding subsidiary relationship, associate enterprises, all of them are related persons. Both of them are directly or indirectly controlled by a third person, and together they directly or indirectly control a third person, or they are members of the same family. So apart from individuals, even in terms of business relationship, a company, a subsidiary, a partnership firm, if they are having control in any other businesses, then they are all related persons. Why related persons is relevant, we will see under the definition of value of supply. If you are related persons, then your pricing will be influenced, so you cannot go with the transaction value. Okay, so that's where the relevant definition of related persons becomes important. That if you are one of these seven, plus the eighth one is one of them is a sole agent, sole distributor, or sole concessioner of the other. So if you're just an agent, then you're not a related person. If you're a sole agent, you're a single agent, then your transaction with me decides my business. right? If I sell you at lower price, you'll be selling more. So that's why my price can be influenced. That is the reason a sole agent, a sole distributor, or sole concessioner is a related person. So my price, wherever the related person's transactions comes, okay, then I am influenced by the other. Then my price is not open to arm's length. It is open to some kind of influential price. Okay, that's why I'll give a special privilege to these related persons. 5, 6, 7 इन हिंदी प्लीज या जो हम लोग समझ गए कि रिलेटेड पर्सन 4 नंबर तक कौन है अभी वन ऑफ देम डायरेक्टली और इनडायरेक्टली कंट्रोल्स द अदर एक और को कंट्रोल करता है इट कुड बी इन टर्म्स ऑफ शेयर होल्डिंग और इट कुड बी इन टर्म्स ऑफ कि उसने मेरे से लोन लिए और मैं उसके बोर्ड पे हूँ ठीक है जैसे मैंने कुछ फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशंस होती है जो कंपनीज को फाइनेंस प्रोवाइड करती है वो बोलती है कि मैं आपके बोर्ड पे रहूंगा ठीक है तो वो भी इन्फ्लुएंस कर सकता है डिसीजन पे वो भी कंट्रोल करता है उस कंपनी पे तो वैसे केसेस में वो भी रिलेटेड पर्सन हो जाएंगे बोथ ऑफ देम आर डायरेक्टली और इनडायरेक्टली कंट्रोल बाय अ थर्ड पर्सन और दोनों का कंट्रोल एक बंदे के पास है इफ देर इज वन कंपनी हु इज कंट्रोलिंग बोथ ऑफ देम तो फिर ये दोनों भी रिलेटेड है ऐसा नहीं कि एक्स जो है वो ए कंपनी को होल्ड करता है एक्स जो है बी कंपनी को होल्ड करता है तो फिर ए और बी भी रिलेटेड हो जाएंगे बिकॉज बोथ ऑफ देम आर डायरेक्टली और इनडायरेक्टली कंट्रोल्ड बाय अ थर्ड पर्सन देन टुगेदर ए और बी है जो दोनों मिलके एक छोटी कंपनी को कंट्रोल करते हैं तो ये दोनों भी रिलेटेड हो जाएंगे तो काफी परमिटेशन कॉम्बिनेशंस के हिसाब से रिलेटेड पार्टी हो जाएंगे सोल एजेंट का एक बता दीजिए क्या बताऊं एग्जांपल सोल एजेंट सोल कंसेशनर का मतलब है मैं हूं जैसे मेरा एक फॉरेन ब्रांड है अब मैं इंडिया में सप्लाई करना चाहता हूँ मुझे डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन पता नहीं है सो आई मैं एक कंपनी से टाई अप करूंगा कि यू विल बिकम माय सोल डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर तुम जहां चाहो डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करो लेकिन मेरे प्रोडक्ट सब जगह पहुंचने चाहिए तो दिस ट्रांजैक्शन विद दिस पर्सन is considered as a sole agent transaction. Okay, so this is a sole agent or a sole distributor who will distribute the goods. So arm's length price means sale price same for customer and related party too. Is that right? Yeah. So when you sell anything, you should sell at a arm's length price, which means it is not influenced by the relationship. That's where it is called as arm's length price. So we have understood the definition. Now let's go to the concept of value. When will the value of taxable supply be considered and well? So for fifth point, can we relate to holding and subsidiary? One of them directly or indirectly controls other. Yes, we can relate to that. We can definitely relate to holding subsidiary also. Why these concepts are repeating again while we covered it in supply? Because when we go through the topic of supply, these definitions were important there. When we defined value of supply, these are important here. That's why we are repeating this for the sake of grasping it and getting clarity about it. Sole agent is one person, it can be more than one. Sole agent means one person itself. So it can be one person or one company. Person means person or company, anybody. So it could be the sole person or anybody. Okay, Aisha, you could ask your question on a general question at the end. Now we understand who is the related person. Now we will see the value. Section 15 is very nicely, sweetly worded. To understand this concept also becomes easier. Section 15(1) says that the value of a taxable supply shall be the transaction value. Okay. 15 simply says that the value of a taxable supply shall be the transaction value, which is the price actually paid or payable for the supply. Okay. So what is the value? The value is the transaction value. That is, when I sell that same example of 100 rupees, when I sell to a customer at 100 rupees, the transaction value for that supply is 100 rupees. When I sold the same product to another customer at 120, there the transaction value became 120. So when I'm selling, when the price is actually paid or payable for the supply, okay, where the price is paid or payable, अगर वो मुझे कैश में देता है या आगे क्रेडिट में लेके आगे भी he has to pay me, then it is the transaction value, that is the value at which I have done transaction with him. Clear? Now the conditions for going to section 15(1) transaction value is it should not be related party. Only two conditions. It should not be a related party. What is a related party? हमने पिछले slide में देखा है that it should not be any of these people. It should not be a related party and price is the sole consideration. ठीक है? When price is the sole consideration and the seller and buyer are not related, then transaction value is the value of taxable supply. ठीक है? Sole concessioner and sole agent. Sole agent means he's a single agent. Sole concessioner means he's the only person within the geography. So South India, he's the only agent. He's a sole concessioner. And North India, there is another person. He's a sole concessioner. So sole concessioner has specific areas. Sole agent will have not restricted to a specific area. Only sole consideration means that when I'm selling something, he has to only pay me the price for the goods and nothing else. If this is not a sole consideration, then I will come out of 15(1). Now, what is the sole consideration? When I sell something, he says that I will pay you the value plus I will pay you something else. It could be anything. It could be that I am supplying him, say, I am manufacturing something and supplying it to him. Then if he pays me the value, whatever value I charge, that will be the sole value. But in case he says, no, for this, I will need some specialized parts, and that parts I will supply to you. So if he is supplying the parts to me, my price is not that he will pay me the value of the full goods. He will reduce the value of the things which he supplied. So which he reduces, then it means the price is not the sole consideration. There is something else. Then my transaction value is not the right value. So if there is no price is not the sole consideration, it is something else, then I cannot use the transaction value, because ultimately it is the GST has to be on a fair basis, that when I'm supplying 100 rupees worth of goods to you, and if somebody else is giving me something, then I will not charge him 100 rupees, because he, one of the inputs for this sale he has given me. Say in case of a builder GST is leviable. Now if the builder constructs something to a person who is specially influenced, now this person says that I want to maintain my quality, so I will buy the cement and give it to you. So once he gives cements to me, then my costing is reduced to that extent. So my pricing is also reduced. So in that case, my price will not be the correct price. It will be an influence price, because I'm getting something from him to supply the same thing. So In such cases, price is influenced. So transaction value cannot be the value of supply. If the transaction involves exchange of items and some extra money, no, then also it is not a sole consideration because something else is involved. So it is not a sole consideration. Where the price actually paid or payable for the supply, it should be price which has been paid, then it is a transaction value. As per 15.3, when we buy something from mall, then do we need to pay GST on whole amount or amount after deducted discount? Discount will come. So basically, whenever you buy from mall, you have to pay for that. You are a third party, so whatever transaction value is there, that is a value. Now 15.2 and 15.3 says, okay, you have taken a transaction value, but there are some essential things which you have to include. Okay. Now, what are these essential things which you have to include is in inclusion in transaction value, duties or taxes other than GST. So if I'm collecting any other taxes, that has to be included. Like I am giving a rental. Okay. Now, when I'm giving it on rent, I have mentioned in the agreement that the municipal taxes also has to be paid by the tenant. It is not related party, and price is the sole consideration. Yes, price is the sole consideration, but anything else which is there in the agreement and I'm collecting from my customer, that has to be added. So property tax I will not pay. I am not using interested to let out the property. Since you said I am letting it out, so the municipal taxes you have to pay. Okay, so in that case, the municipal taxes, what is to be paid by the tenant, even though it is taxes, it has to be added because 15.2 said what is to be included in the transaction value, duties and taxes other than GST, which is charged separately. So when I raise an invoice, I add CGST first. Okay. And then I add SGST. So should the value of SGST be transaction value plus CGST, then percentage on that? No, not at all, because CGST and any SGST, IGST, all those GSTs are not a part of the transaction value. So that need not be added. But in this example of raising a rent for 1 lakh rupees and municipal taxes 10,000 rupees, 1 lakh 10,000 is the value on which I have to charge GST. So take the transaction value, add these 5 components. One is duties and taxes other than GST if it is charged separately. Second is here payment incurred by the recipient for which supplier is liable to pay. Cement in this case, price is the wholesale consideration, but something he is paying it or any value payment which is incurred by the boss. I have to buy some, I have to sell your goods. For this weighment charges is there, you do the weighment and pay on my behalf. So once he makes the payment on behalf of the seller, the buyer, whatever money he incurs on behalf of the seller has to be added. No, boss, I will not reduce my price. My price will be same. But this payment, what you have done, I will add it. Okay, so any payment incurred by the recipient for which supplier is liable to pay has to be added. Then the third thing is incidental expenses charged by the supplier at the time of supply or before delivery. So when the make delivery of goods and there are some incidental charges. Okay, any charges incidental has to be added. Okay, then interest, late fees, penalty. Yesterday we discussed IPL. So IPL is the what is the time of supply? It is on actual receipt, but it is the included in the value of goods. If I sell today, if I know IPL, I will add it. If I don't know, I will raise a debit note for it later on, but it is a part of the value of the goods itself. Then fifth point is when the price is linked to subsidy, price linked subsidy other than given by the government. So we know that if any subsidy is given by the central government and state government, we will not include, but any other subsidy which is given by any other person, that has to be added. Okay, so 15.1, then 15.2, 5 things will be added. Then 15.3 deductions. We'll understand this in detail separately, but as a holistic picture, please play with me and understand key. When you take a transaction value, take 15.1, add 5 things and reduce some things. What you will deduct? Deduction of discount. Which discount? Any discount which is given before or at the time of supply is deductible from the value. Any discount which is given at the time of supply itself in the invoice. Somebody was asking a question of mall. When we go, we get a discount. Yes. Then at the time of supply itself, if they deduct it from the invoice, that is a valid deduction because your transaction value is after discount. So sale price less discount on the net value, you have charged GST. 1000 रुपए का चीज है, I have bargained, got it, told him that sell it for 100,000 rupees is the sale value, discount of 200 on 800 is the transaction value on which he has to charge me GST. Not that it should charge on 1000 full GST then discount, then the transaction value is incorrect. You're paying more to the government. When the government is giving you this levy of reducing deduction, then reduce it and then charge the GST. So any discount given before or at the time of supply is deductible. Okay. Then any other discount given after supply. So this is before supply, this is after supply. Any discount given after supply, which is agreed. Just 1 minute. Deductions. What deductions? Two types of deductions. Any deductions given at the time of supply or before the supply, and any deductions given after the supply. So any discounts which is given after the supply, which is, it could be of two types where you have agreed before the time of supply that you will give him a discount, then it is deductible if it is linked to the invoice and ITC is reversed by the recipient. We'll discuss this. And if it is not agreed, then not deductible. So before any after discount, after the supply, it is deductible if it is agreed before the time of supply, and if it is linked to the invoice and ITC is reversed by the recipient, and if it is not agreed, then not deductible. Now let's take this one by one. Then I'll take all your questions. Then you will go with transaction value when the transaction between two persons who are not related to each other and price is the sole consideration. Then you will go for transaction value. Then the value of supply is the transaction value, which is the price actually paid or payable. That is 15.1. Now, what are the adjustments? These 5 adjustments, I've put it again to understand it very closely here. Any other taxes, okay, any other taxes, whatever is charged other than GST has to be added. All this blue is additions and all this oranges are deductions. All other taxes has to be added. Payment to third parties on behalf of the supplier has to be added. Any incidental expenses has to be added. Now let us take some examples. Municipal taxes, for the first one, we have understood that. Any payment to third persons, that I have to make testing of your product. Okay, I have to test your products, then only I will give you the contract. So when you produced it, I have taken the product and sent it to laboratory. You cannot send it to laboratory because if you send, you will change the quality. So I will give it to laboratory and lab charges I have paid. Okay. Now this payment of lab charges, I'm giving it to you saying that you pay me because I don't trust you. So I went to the lab. Now this payment to third party, what I've made is a part of the supply. So any payment to third parties on behalf of the supplier has to be added because it is a part of this transaction itself. So any payment made to third parties on behalf of the supplier, give him the bill, he will add it again. Third thing is incidental expenses. What are these incidental expenses? That is any kind of packaging I do. So when I've sold goods to you, my value was 1 lakh rupees. Now you have said that do nice special packing. Okay, I will do, charge you 5,000 rupees extra. Okay, add. So 1 lakh 5,000 is the value. Now you have to do delivery also of these goods. Huh? Delivery was not my part of the contract. You have to come and take. No, I don't know all of those things. You have to give me delivery. Okay, I will charge extra 7,000 rupees. 7,000 rupees. Agreed. Add that also. So there is no separate supplies of this packing or separate supply of transportation. When I've included in the bill, it becomes a composite supply, and all of these incidental expenses get added to the main product. Okay, so this is included in the value of the supply. Understood? Incidental supplies. And interest, late fees, penalty, even if we charge later on, still it is part of the value. Once I'm supplying this, because of this supply only, I'm able to levy with you on your interest, late fees, or penalty. So this is also to be included in the value itself. Third part is price, which is linked subsidies, but subsidies given by central government, state government is excluded. Every other subsidy is included. So questions on these now. ये वाला चार्ट हिंदी में समझा दीजिए. ठीक है. जो हम सप्लाई करते हैं, जो मैं सेल करता हूं अग्री करके कस्टमर के साथ, जो भी वैल्यू में अग्री करता हूं वो मेरा ट्रांजैक्शन वैल्यू हो जाएगा. अगर मैं अनरिलेटेड पार्टी के साथ ट्रांजैक्शन करता हूं तब मेरा ट्रांजैक्शन वैल्यू ही सेल वैल्यू है, मेरा सेल वैल्यू ही ट्रांजैक्शन वैल्यू है. जब मैं अनरिलेटेड पार्टी को सेल करता हूं तब ट्रांजैक्शन वैल्यू लेंगे. उसकी कंडीशन सिर्फ दो है कि वो रिलेटेड पार्टी नहीं रहना चाहिए और प्राइस इसका सोल कंसिडर्ड रहना चाहिए. ठीक है, प्राइस सोल कंसिडरेशन है तो मैं ट्रांजैक्शन वैल्यू के अंदर घुस सकता हूँ. घुसने के बाद 5 चीजें मुझे इंक्लूड करनी है और एक चीज मुझे कम करनी है. क्या 5 चीजें हैं? टैक्सेस, जो जीएसटी, सीजीएसटी, एसजीएसटी, आईजीएसटी, यूटीजीएसटी के अलावा में जो भी, और जो जीएसटी कंसेशन के लिए इनिशियली एक अलग से कंसेशनल सेस लगता था, वो सब जीएसटी के रिलेटेड जो भी है, उसके अलावा जो कुछ भी मैं ऐड करता हूँ उसे ऐड करना चाहिए. मैं आपको एक एग्जांपल बता दिया था कि म्युनिसिपल टैक्स, जो कॉर्पोरेशन का टैक्स है, उसे जब मैं इंक्लूड करता हूं तब उसे भी ऐड करना चाहिए क्योंकि वो जीएसटी का टैक्स नहीं है. सेकेंड चीज जो ऐड करनी है, पेमेंट इंकर्ड बाय द रिसिपिएंट फॉर विच सप्लायर इज लायबल टू पे. जो सप्लायर की ड्यूटी है वो रिसिपिएंट पे कर देता है तो उसे भी मुझे ऐड करना चाहिए ट्रांजैक्शन वैल्यू के ऊपर. तीसरी चीज है इंसिडेंटल एक्सपेंसेस चार्ज बाय द सप्लायर एट द टाइम ऑफ सप्लाई और बिफोर डिलीवरी. जो भी इंसिडेंटल चार्ज में इंकर करता हूँ, पैकेजिंग हो गया, स्पेशल पैकेजिंग, कुछ ऑल्ट्रेशन करना है, टेस्टिंग करना है, ठीक है, वो सब चार्जेस इंसिडेंटल चार्जेस में इंक्लूड हो जाएंगे. ये सब जो भी इंसिडेंटल चार्जेस है उसे मुझे जीएसटी में ऐड करना पड़ेगा. थर्ड चीज है इंटरेस्ट, लेट फीस, पेनाल्टी ऑन डिलेड कंसिडरेशन. डिले किया है उसके लिए मुझे जो इंटरेस्ट, लेट फीस और पेमेंट और पेनाल्टी पे करने का वो भी ट्रांजैक्शन वैल्यू में इंक्लूड है. पांचवी चीज है प्राइस लिंक सब्सिडी. ठीक है, जो भी सब्सिडी मुझे इस प्रोडक्ट के लिए देनी पड़ेगी या जो भी मुझे मिलती है, मैं सप्लायर को तो मैं 50 रुपए बेच दूंगा लेकिन मेरी वैल्यू है 90 रुपीज, एक सब्सिडी मुझे मिल रही है 40 रुपीज की, तो मेरा ट्रांजैक्शन वैल्यू हो जाएगा 50 + 40. तो ये 5 चीजें ऐड कर ली. लेकिन सब्सिडी में एक चीज हमने समझ लिया था कि अगर वो सब्सिडी सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट या स्टेट गवर्नमेंट से मिलती है तब हम उसे वैल्यू में इंक्लूड नहीं करेंगे. तो 5 चीजें इंक्लूड हो गई. अभी एक चीज जो रिड्यूस करनी है वो है डिस्काउंट. डिस्काउंट लेकिन दो तरह के हैं, प्री डिस्काउंट और पोस्ट डिस्काउंट. जब मैं ट्रांजैक्शन सेल करता हूं तब मैं कुछ अग्री हो जाता हूं तो वो हो गया फर्स्ट टाइप का डिस्काउंट. ठीक है, ये डिस्काउंट इज बिफोर और एट द टाइम ऑफ सप्लाई. अगर मैं इनवॉइस से रिड्यूस करता हूं तो मेरी सेल वैल्यू ट्रांजैक्शन वैल्यू से कम हो जाएगी. और सेकेंड डिस्काउंट है पोस्ट सप्लाई डिस्काउंट, की मैं डिस्काउंट बाद में देता हूं. ठीक है, इसे भी कम करना चाहिए. अगर मैंने सप्लाई करने के पहले अग्री कर दिया है, अगर मैं सप्लाई करने के वक्त अग्री नहीं करता हूं और बाद में डिस्काउंट मांगता हूं तो उसे कम नहीं किया जा सकता है ट्रांजैक्शन वैल्यू पे. ठीक है, लेकिन अगर फर्स्ट अग्री कर दिया है और सप्लायर ने जब खरीदा था उसका 100 रुपए में मैंने भेजा था तो उसके 100 रुपए पे क्रेडिट पूरा ले लिया. अब जब मैं डिस्काउंट दे रहा हूँ, वो प्राइस कम कर रहा हूँ, तो जो वो आईटीसी पूरा क्लेम कर दिया वो गलत हो गया ना, क्योंकि मेरी प्राइस तो 100 रुपए की थी, आपने भैया 100 की क्रेडिट ले ली. अब मैं जो आपको 10 रुपए डिस्काउंट का वाउचर दूंगा 10 रुपए कम करके, तब 10 रुपए का क्रेडिट भी आप कम करो ना। तो अगर आप क्रेडिट कम करते हो तो मेरी सेल वैल्यू से भी वो कम हो सकती है। ठीक है, सो दैट इज द डिस्काउंट पार्ट। समझे नाउ? Same example, I am a contractor, you are a cement factory owner. Okay. I am constructing a factory building. Agreed as per you and me is 10 crores. Okay. But you only supply cement to constructing around 2 crores. Okay. My value of supply is 10 crore only. I cannot make it 8 crores. Now, you have entered into a contract to do a cement factory and I am supplying factories to you. Agreement as per you and me is 10 crores, but you only supply cement to constructing. Okay. So it means the price what we have agreed is itself 12 crores. We have agreed 10 crores because I will supply to you 2 crores worth of cement. So whatever value we have agreed, then this 2 crores is required for this only. Correct? Otherwise, what would have happened? I will sell you for 2 crores and you have to pay GST on this. So once we have agreed at 10 crores, it means the price was 12, we have agreed at 10, right? So then your value of supply to me will be 10 plus 2, 12 crores. Incidental expenses include sample of those goods. For sample, if you are charging something, right, then it will be included. Suppose, say, I am giving a sample to you of a drink. You drink it, then I will say, okay, sample. You, if you like it, I will charge it. Then the charges which I am including, charging for those sample has to be included in the value of the goods also. If you purchase goods and sellers send through GTA, then if price is paid by the seller or by the buyer, then transaction value price. So if the GTA I'm sending it, now GTA said, नहीं भाई मैं लूंगा ही नहीं because तुम्हारे भरोसे में लेके जाऊंगा. If the customer doesn't pay, what will I do? But my agreement with the customer is I am selling the goods at my factory gate. इसके आगे की जवाबदारी तुम्हारी है. और अभी मैं गाड़ी पे लोड कर चुका हूं और GTA is not agreeing to move. The buyer will say you pay and you charge me in your invoice. So I will pay the GTA and I will include it in my invoice. Then this is the payment which is made. Is this is an example of incidental expense. So I will have to include it in the invoice. As you said, incidental expenses are added because they become composite supply. Will we consider whole transaction as composite supply? Yes, the whole transaction is a composite supply, not part. The intention of composite supply itself is that the whole transaction should be one. So what does it mean if I'm selling a goods at 18% and if I'm adding this transportation charges, the rate on this transportation also will be 18%. Okay. Clear, Vaishali, on the GTA part. Second is on the aspect of, yeah, in case of tobacco products also you can take an example. that excise is charged as well as GST. So any excise duty which is charged will get added to the value. And on that excise duty also we'll pay GST. Sirji, suppose I am supplier of goods to a related party and not arm's length, then what value I should use? If you are related party, then if you are doing at arm's length or not arm's length, transaction value cannot be the value for you. Because if you are a related party, you cannot enter this at all. This 15.1 we've said that where it is not a related party. If you are not a related party, then 15 के अंदर आओ, वरना अगर आप related party हो तो आपके लिए आगे section है. You have a separate provision for when you are a transaction with related party. Some examples of subsidiaries that was not price linked. Government is giving a subsidiary to set up a factory. Okay, or you're getting any subsidiary which is not linked to the price. All the examples what I gave you, 100 rupees sold and 60 came, 40 didn't come, 40 came from the government. Those are all price linked subsidy. Any subsidiary which you receive other than that, setting up of the factory or capital subsidiary which you get, which is not linked definitely to one product. Those are all examples of not price linked subsidy. Explain once again the discount part. We'll come to the discount part at a later point of time. You will understand that. Okay, let's understand the discount part now. Okay. Pre-sale discount or post-sale invoice link discount. So at the time of supply, I had agreed that I will sell at 100 rupees. Now you said, boss, I am paying you full amount in cash. Okay. If you give me a normal invoice, then I will pay at 10 days. That time your price, what you have charged is fine. I'm giving you cash. So it's a type of cash discount. So you'll give me 2% discount. That's called as cash discount. So that kind of discount is agreed at the time of supply and it is specified in the invoice. That is a pre-sale discount. Then he supplied. Now after 20 days he came. I said, give me some more discount. Why should I give you discount? We did not agree with this. No, if you don't give me, then I'm not going to pay you. So by majburi, he has to give you some discount. Now this discount was not agreed at the time of supply, right? But you are giving it to get your collection. So this is not a discount which you have to get reduced from your supply. So if in the first type of discount we understood 1 lakh rupees, 1000 rupees is the sale value, 200 rupees is the discount, 800 rupees you pay GST. Now second type of discount is 1000 rupees I sold. After some point of time, the customer is asking for a discount. Now this discount we are not agreed at. So my sale value will still be 100. This 200 rupees discount or 100 rupees discount which I give at a later point of time when we have not agreed, this will not reduce my sale value. This is called as commercial discount. Commercial discount will not impact GST. Okay. Take a third example. We had agreed that I will sell 1000 rupees worth of goods to you. If you buy 10 goods, then I will give you a discount of 10%. So today he came, he bought one goods. Tomorrow he bought another goods. By like this, 10 days he came, then he said, boss, I bought 10 goods. I said, okay. Since I had agreed with you that I will give you a discount and it was dependent on something, okay, then such a discount which is post-sale but linked to the invoice, which means I can link it to which invoice it is issued for. So this discount is linked to those invoices and this is agreed before the supply, then that I can reduce it. Now invoice is already raised. How will you reduce it? I can give the discount through a credit note. Any increase in value, we discussed debit note. Any reduction in value, credit note. So I will give him a credit note. He took credit of those 1000 rupees. Right now I'm reducing his price. So to the extent of the discount, the receiver has to reduce his input tax credit and that is the condition for me to reduce my sale price. Fine. Post sale invoice linked, recipient should reverse the ITC, then I can claim the credit. Then I can pay the less tax on that. हम जो भी e-commerce clear Bhumi on the discount part, and many people also had query on the discount. Is it all clear now? हम जब भी ई कॉमर्स वेबसाइट से गुड्स मंगवाते हैं तो वो तो शिपिंग चार्जेस को सेपरेटली दिखाते हैं, इनवॉइस प्राइस में इंक्लूड नहीं होता है, एंड शायद वो शिपिंग चार्जेस पर जीएसटी भी नहीं लेते. सो दे ट्रीट शिपिंग सेपरेटली बिकॉज शिपिंग को वो क्या करते हैं, दे ट्रीट दैट शिपिंग इज अ सेपरेट कॉम्पोनेंट, राइट. देन दे डोंट चार्ज जीएसटी, बट द राइट वे इज शिपिंग जो कि प्राइस लिस्टिंग होती है प्लस शिपिंग होती है तो इट मींस इट्स सेपरेट. If it is all inclusive, it means it's inclusive of shipping cost, then it should not be separately charged. Do you mean कि अगर डिस्काउंट को सप्लाई वैल्यू से डिडक्ट किया तो आईटीसी भी उतना अवेल कर सकते हैं जितना वैल्यू ऑफ सप्लाई होगा आफ्टर डिडक्शन ऑफ डिस्काउंट? नहीं. Did you mean that कि अगर डिस्काउंट को सप्लाई वैल्यू से डिडक्ट किया है, so when my sale value is 1000 and I've deducted 200, then the value is 800. तो 800 पे आईटीसी ले सकते हैं, नॉट ऑन 1000. क्लियर? 800 पे ले सकते हैं, नॉट ऑन 1000, बिकॉज आई हैव reduced the value and transaction value is 800. Clear? This is when the invoice discount is raised in the invoice itself. Second case, I have raised 1000 rupees and later on I have given 200. तो फिर वैल्यू कितना होना चाहिए? On what value can the receiver claim the ITC? Bhumi, you didn't like the notes? So when I've supplied 1000 and given a discount of 200, transaction value is 800. Now I've given a sale value of 1000 and a discount later on post supply, 200 rupees discount I've given. Then what should be the value ultimately after the discount which should go to the government? Should be on 1000 or it should be on 800? It should be on 800 because ultimately it is to an unrelated person and 200 is the discount. So this value on which GST should be on 1000 minus 200, not on 1000. It should be on 800. Now when I gave him an invoice, I charged him 800 with GST and he will claim the full credit on this. Correct? So not 1200 at least, should be on 800 or 1000 worst case. But why are you saying 1200? How will you add discount? You have to reduce the discount. Okay. So sale made and discount given 800. The supplier, when I gave him the invoice full 1000, he's claimed the credit. Now I have been told by the valuation that 200 rupees I have to reduce. I will give him a credit note. So when he purchaser, when he bought it, he claimed credit on full 1000 rupees. Now 200 rupees credit on that GST he should reduce. वरना फिर क्या होगा? I am paying GST on 800 rupees. He is claiming credit on 1000. Mismatch. Where is the credit chain then? How much our GST I pay, that much credit only he should take. Correct? So then he will take GST on 1000 rupees plus GST on 1000 rupees. Then once I give him the credit note, that much value he will reduce from his ITC. So he will ultimately claim the credit on 800 and I will also pay GST on 800. Clear? But in a situation where rate of basic supply is 5%, what happens to incidental third party where here the rate is 18%? What rate to be considered? It should be 5% itself. What is the main supply? That itself will be the rate. Subsidies will deduct, we will not add it separately, because subsidy you're getting separately, so you will not add it. Bad debts is not covered under GST, so bad debts is a loss to the supplier. Exemption chapter notes have been uploaded. Bhumi, just check. Some cases discount is deducted. There you will raise a credit note. What is invoice link? Where you give a credit note and that credit note can be linked to those invoices. Then it is called as invoice link. सो नेंशी हम जीएसटी 1000 पे चार्ज करेंगे, लेकिन डिस्काउंट दे रहे हैं 200 रुपए का, तो अल्टीमेटली गवर्नमेंट को 800 पे जाना चाहिए। तो 1000 पे चार्ज करो, फिर 200 का क्रेडिट नोट दो, ताकि गवर्नमेंट को 800 के ऊपर ही जीएसटी जाएगा। ओके, और आईटीसी जो क्लेम करेगा वो भी 800 पे ही क्लेम करेगा, 1000 पे नहीं क्लेम करेगा। जो आप टैक्स भरते हो उसी को सामने वाला क्रेडिट क्लेम कर सकता है। Keshav, in your case, invoice value is 1000 plus 1100 for transportation. Total service value, sales value is 1100 plus GST, say 8%. Yeah. Now my question is that as per GST, my turnover is 1100 and my turnover as per books is 1000. Your turnover is 1000. Your revenue sales is 1000, but transportation is coming under other income. So GST is not only on the sale value, what you're seeing in the P&L account. GST is not on the turnover. GST is on supply. Now, supply does not mean only turnover. Turnover plus any other incidental expenses, if it is liable to GST, that also can be part of the GST. Okay, so your notion under income tax that we have to take the turnover, that is not applicable in GST. In GST, you will take the turnover and all other incidental expenses also. It means trade discount we should reduce from volume of supply. Yes. What if there's a defective and supplier is agreeing to reduce the price post supply? Can seller issue credit note? Yes, he can issue credit note for such transaction also. If it is free sample of goods and it is returned, then there is no GST on the free samples and no need of any GST adjustment. What will be the treatment of cash discount which is given while time of payment in case of a credit note? So if it is agreed that if you pay me within 10 days, then I will give you a cash discount, then that can also be reduced through a credit note. Okay. So this we understood. Before getting into the nitty-gritties further, let's take a break of around 5 to 6 minutes. Let's catch at 7:30. Thank you. So the questions what has popped up is charge of GST not uploaded. So I think everything is uploaded. If charge is missed out, I will tell them again. Okay, so it looks like charge of GST is not uploaded. So time of supply and today's chapter and charge, I will tell sir to upload it again. Okay, another question is if the sale is done and return is filed and after that we give discount to the purchaser, then what will be the effect of filing? So whatever we have filed, that is correct, because when we made the sale, we did not know that discount will come in the future. So sale value on 1000 is correct. We have paid the GST. Now, once a discount is issued through a credit note, then for that discount, we will raise a credit note and whatever supplies we have for that month, from that month's supplies, we will reduce this discount value and that month's return will again be correct. Okay. So whatever reduction we do, that can be adjusted with the sales of that month. Clear, Avinash? If CA gives his service to the client and charges 5,000 for given services and 1,000 tax has been deposited by CA on the behalf of the client. In the above condition, how we will raise an invoice including reimbursement of tax challan also. So there is a concept of pure agent. When we do valuation, we have to understand that the value is the value of the supply. So any kind of incidental charges we incur. Suppose I go to a client's audit and I incur travel and stay expenses. So if I do travel and stay, then it is a incidental expense. It has to be added to the value and then GST has to be charged. So in your example, 5,000 rupees, I've gone for a close by place and I've charged him accommodate travel and food of say 1,000 rupees. So my value of supply will be 6,000. I have to charge 6,000 plus taxes. Now I have filed his income tax return and paid his taxes of 10,000 rupees. Now that is not to be included in the value of supply. That is not an incidental supply. That is his payment of tax which I have made. Okay, so that is a reimbursement which is outside the scope of GST. I've done it as a pure agent. So on that, I will not charge the GST. I can include it in my invoice, but I should not add it for my value for GST. So he will say that I will pay you 10,000 rupees once you raise the invoice. So I will include in the invoice that non-GST supply or supplies on which GST is not attracted. So to that extent, GST will not be paid on such pure agent services. Okay, good question, Keshav, that any kind of supplies which I do on which reimbursements could be of two types. One is reimbursement on which GST is payable and one on which GST is not payable. How do I bifurcate this? Pure agent services where the bill is in the client's name, the benefit also is to the client. Such charges are called pure agent charges where I don't have to include it in my value. Okay. And all other expenses which is incurred on behalf of the customer, stay expenses, lodging expenses, I am using it and I will recover it from it. That has to be included in the value of supply. Okay, let's proceed. Any taxes, duties, cess, fees, and charges levied under any law for the time being in force has to be added. So there was a question that a transaction of TCS. What is TCS? Under Income Tax Act, we have a provision of tax collected at source, which means when I sell something, apart from collecting the value of the goods, I have to collect some extra amount called as tax collected at source. Now, this TCS is a tax under the Income Tax Act. So there was a question that the exclusion clause said that apart from GST, any other taxes has to be included in the value. So this TCS, what you're collecting on your supply. Now, TCS is, say, for example, typical example is collected when you sell scrap. You have sold scrap of old iron and steel, and you have collected the value plus TCS. The buyer has to give you value plus TCS. So you have sold for 10,000 rupees and you have collected TCS of 500 rupees. So your transaction value will be 10,500, then you charge GST. There is a clarification which says that TCS under income tax is not includable as it is an interim levy not having the character of a tax. So TCS is a tax collected at source, but the character is not tax, so you will not add it. So TCS will not be added. Second thing is any amount that the supplier is liable to pay in relation to such supply, but which has been incurred by the recipient of the supply and not included. One example is cement, which we have discussed. Then the examples of incidental charges is freight handling charges, inspection or certification charges, installation and testing charges, all of these things which I have to do before delivering the goods. My goods are ready, it is ready for dispatch. Now you have told me to do all of these things. Any of these things which I do is incidental expenses on which I will add this to the value of supply. Then the weighment charges, loading charges, designing charges, all of this is at the instance of the buyer. This has to be included in the value of supply. Then interest or late fees. The time of, we know the time of supply yesterday, that the time of supply for such interest would be the actual receipt. Okay. And such charges are in addition to the value of supply. Hence, same rate of tax of the principal supply is applicable. Like how I had said for delivery charges, similar to that, any kind of IPL which I charge it is in relation to the supply itself. So whatever is the rate of the principal supply, that will apply to the incidental charges as well. Subsidies, again directly linked to the price. Blanket subsidies, that is capital subsidies, asset subsidies, subsidies for expansion, growth subsidies are not included because they are blanket subsidies, but only subsidies which is directly linked to the price has to be included. ITC on cess charge, on GST cess, not to be included. Please upload taxable event supply notes that Shefali madam has taken. You will have to request Shefali madam to upload it. But if the booking of ticket, if booking of ticket is in your name, right now, booking of ticket, you can do it or the client can do it. If the client does it, then he will pay. If you have paid the booking charges for the ticket and you have to reimburse from the client, ticket will be in your name and you have utilized the service. That's why you will have to include it in the value of supply. Meaning of interim levy. Interim levy means it's not a final levy. Once the person who has got the TCS, he will calculate the tax and in this he will adjust it. So that's why it's an interim levy, not a tax to be included. In tobacco or other goods which import, and then central excise duty and custom duty is to be added to the value of GST charges on that product. You're right. On tobacco, when you do local supply also, excise duty is added, then GST will be charged. TCS समझ में आया? ठीक है. जो हमने कहा का था कि एक पॉइंट इस स्लाइड में हमने कहा था कि इंक्लूजन ऑफ ट्रांजैक्शन वैल्यू में ड्यूटीज एंड टैक्सेस अदर देन जीएसटी को ऐड करना है. सो जीएसटी के अलावा जो भी आप चार्ज करते हो उसे ऐड करना है. करेक्ट. तो जीएसटी के अलावा सीजीएसटी, एसजीएसटी, आईजीएसटी के अलावा जो भी चार्जेस टैक्सेस आप चार्ज करते हो उसे ऐड करना चाहिए. जैसे मैंने कहा था कि म्युनिसिपल टैक्स, प्रॉपर्टी का टैक्स जो मैं कलेक्ट करता हूँ उसे मैं इनवॉइस में ऐड करूंगा और उसके ऊपर जीएसटी पे करूंगा. तो एक ट्रांजैक्शन है इनकम टैक्स में जो कहता है जब भी आप स्क्रैप सेल करते हो, तो आप जब स्क्रैप सेल करते हो आप सामने वाले को सेल करो, जीएसटी कलेक्ट करो और एक इनकम टैक्स का टीसीएस भी आप कलेक्ट करो. क्यों? क्योंकि सामने वाले ने क्या ट्रांजैक्शन किया वो इनकम टैक्स को चाहिए, तो उसका साथ टीसीएस कलेक्ट करो और उसका पैन भी कलेक्ट करो. ठीक है. जो बायर है स्क्रैप डीलर, उसका मैं पैन लूंगा और उससे मैं एक्स्ट्रा अमाउंट लूंगा. ठीक है. जो मैं एक्स्ट्रा अमाउंट लूंगा वो मैं इनकम टैक्स के खाते में जमा कर दूंगा और उसको क्रेडिट मिलेगा उसका. ठीक है. तो ये क्या हो गया है, या टीसीएस जो है इनकम टैक्स की तरह हो गया है. तो फिर मुझे 10,000 रुपए जब मैं सेल करता हूं, टीसीएस एक 500 रुपए कलेक्ट करता हूं, तो 10,500 पे मुझे जीएसटी पे करना चाहिए. करेक्ट. लेकिन 10,500 पे जीएसटी पे मत करो, ये गवर्नमेंट कहता है थ्रू क्लैरिफिकेशन। गवर्नमेंट का सिर्फ 10,000 पे जीएसटी पे करो, क्योंकि ये 500 जो है ये इंटरिम लेवी की तरह है, क्योंकि ये इंटरिम मतलब गवर्नमेंट को टैक्स का कंट्रोल चाहिए, इसीलिए वो टीसीएस कलेक्ट कर ले। तो ये 500 रुपए जो टीसीएस है वो टैक्स का नाम नहीं है, तो आप इससे 10,500 के ऊपर जीएसटी मत भरिए, सिर्फ 10,000 पे भरिए। टीसीएस का वैल्यू आपको वैल्यूएशन में ऐड करने की जरूरत नहीं है, समझे अभी? Blanket subsidies means subsidies which are not linked to the price of the product. आपको मशीनरी, कैपिटल मशीनरी इंस्टॉल करना है, गवर्नमेंट को प्रोडक्शन चाहिए, आत्मनिर्भर भारत, मेक इन इंडिया, तो गवर्नमेंट बोलती है आप मशीन इंस्टॉल कीजिए, हम उसके लिए सब्सिडी देंगे। तो वो प्राइस के लिंक नहीं है, प्रोडक्ट लिंक नहीं है, तो उसे आप वैल्यूएशन में ऐड नहीं करोगे। दैट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ ब्लैंकेट सब्सिडीज विच वी विल नॉट ऐड। ठीक है, क्लियर विथ ऑल दिस पॉइंटर्स? नाउ एक्सक्लूजन। एक्सक्लूजन जो हमने डिस्काउंट का बात किया, दैट आई विल एक्सप्लेन अगेन। Discounts given before or at the time of supply, if such discount has been duly recorded in the invoice issued in respect of such supply, then discount for spot payment or discount on list price to distributors. There could be two types of discount की spot price पे ही सब मैं सेल करता हूँ तब आपको डिस्काउंट देता हूँ, और there is a list price। लिस्ट प्राइस पे मैं जनरली डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर्स को 20% डिस्काउंट देता हूं, बिकॉज दिस इज द लिस्ट प्राइस टू द कंज्यूमर, सिंस यू आर अ डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर आई विल गिव यू अ डिस्काउंट। so this discount of which is called as distributor discount or discount on list price, this is also one of the types of discount before or at the time of supply. Clear? Second type of discount is discounts given after the supply, only if the condition is such discount is established in terms of an agreement. So to give post-sale discount, there should be agreement between the seller and buyer or before the time of such supply, and it is specifically linked to the relevant invoice. So the two conditions to give post-sale discount is it should be an agreement. मतलब हर केस में agreement रहेगा, invoice पे नहीं. Oral agreement is also agreed. कि मैं अग्री होता हूं कि जब मैं सेल करता हूं कि आप अगर मेरे पास वॉल्यूम खरीदोगे 1 महीने में तो मैं आपको डिस्काउंट दूंगा। सो दैट इज ऑल्सो considered as a valid thing, because agreement can be oral agreement also, where the discount is established in terms of an agreement entered into at or before the time of supply, and it is specifically linked to the relevant invoice। ऐसा नहीं कि मैं 500 दे दूंगा, हर एक इनवॉइस के साथ आप परसेंटेज या एक एक इनवॉइस पे 10 रुपए, समथिंग विच इज लिंक टू ईच इनवॉइस, वो अगर लिंक्ड है तो फिर पोस्ट सेल डिस्काउंट अलाउड है। प्री का पता है, लेकिन पोस्ट डिस्काउंट आफ्टर द सप्लाई डिस्काउंट की कंडीशन दो है कि ये डिस्काउंट अग्रीमेंट के थ्रू रहने चाहिए और इट शुड बी लिंक टू द स्पेसिफिक इनवॉइस, एंड इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट, जो इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट एट्रीब्यूटेबल टू द डिस्काउंट on the basis of document issued by the supplier has been reversed by the recipient। तो रिसीवर को क्या करना चाहिए? रिसीवर को आईटीसी रिवर्स करना चाहिए। ठीक है, those are those two conditions। ठीक है, so in a pictorial representation, discounts given at the time of supply or before the supply shown in the invoice, yes it is shown in the invoice, then discounts नॉट इंक्लूडेड, तो डिस्काउंट को ऐड नहीं करोगे आप, इधर बिफोर और एट द टाइम ऑफ सप्लाई। लेकिन आपने इनवॉइस पे नहीं दिखाया है, भूल गए हो, यू हैव नॉट शोन इट इन योर इनवॉइस, then discounts are included in the value of supply, you will not reduce it। And if it is after the supply, if it is in terms of an agreement that existed at the time of supply and it can be linked to the invoice and proportionate ITC is reversed by the recipient, if all these three conditions are met, then you will reduce it from the value of supply, otherwise you will not reduce it from the value of supply। Commercial credit note, I'll just come to that in 2 minutes, Parth Sarthi। Did you understand this chart on discount? Harish, buy one, get one also we'll discuss. Okay. So looks like this chart is very clear. Now let's go to various aspects. But discounts could be of various types, where it's a staggered discount, where the rate of discount increases with increase in purchase value. Such discounts are excluded to determine the volume of supply, which means that as and when you increase, there are various types of terminologies which the trade uses. So based on that, they're saying that if you give a staggered discount, saying that if you buy more, you will get more discount. Buy more, earn more. So such kind of a discount is called as a staggered discount. The rate of discount increases as and when the volume increases. Such discounts are to be reduced because this is a valid discount. It is agreed at the time of sale that you buy more, you will get more. So for this is a discount wherein the value will reduce. Year-end or volume discount, which is offered by the supplier to the stockist, and discount is passed by the supplier through these credit notes. Such discounts are also excluded to determine the value of supply, but it should satisfy 15(3) conditions. The 15(3) conditions are what? That it should be in terms of an agreement, it should be linked to the invoice, and proportionate ITC should be reversed. If these three conditions are satisfied, then these two discounts are a discount which is allowed. Now, secondary discount which is not known at the time of supply or which are offered after the supply is already over. Supply is over. Now it is not known. It should not be excluded while determining the value of supply. Then in such cases where you have not confirmed before, but later on if he's coming, like I gave you a good example that the customer is reluctant to pay. Unless you give me discount, I'll not pay. So majburi, you have to give discount, but such discount is not a valid discount for GST purpose. 10,000, 1 lakh rupees I've sold goods to him. And this person is saying that you give me discount of 5,000 only when I'll clear your payment, otherwise I'll not clear. But I did not agree with you that the time of supply that I will give a discount. I don't know all of those things. I thought you will give me discount, so I bought it from you. Okay, I will give you a discount of 5,000 rupees. Now, GST will not give me the credit. You take full I have to pay taxes on full 1 lakh. He will have to pay full, he can claim credit on full 1 lakh. But this 5,000 discount, what I've given him, I will give him through a commercial credit note. Commercial credit note means such credit note which is not a credit note for the purpose of GST. For my commercial transactions, for my business transactions, I will give a credit note. This is called as a commercial credit note. Okay. This credit note does not impact my GST. It impacts my books of accounts. Receivable was 1 lakh. I've issued a commercial credit of 5,000. Now net receivable is 95,000. He will pay me 95,000. Accounts get closed. But GST will be on the whole 1 lakh. He can also claim credit on full 1 lakh. So that is the aspect of commercial credit note. What will be the treatment of discount in buy one, get one free? So in case of a buy one, get one free, it is equivalent to 50% discount. But the GST takes the aspect that whenever you give any products free, it means the value of the price is included in the other product itself. The businesses are smart that nothing comes for free. Okay, nothing comes for free. Everything is chargeable. When you say free, it means some part of that free component is included somewhere. So when you're giving buy one, get one, The price what you're charging for one is actually the price for another, no effect at all. And the price for one what you're charging is the price for other on which you have collected GST. On buy one get one free, no other adjustments is required. Okay, so the one what you're charging itself is price for two, which the customer will not know. Buy one buy get one, he will take it, but it is actually price of two in one itself. Okay, non-commercial credit note. So there are two things. One is credit note, which is the nomenclature which is used for GST. For non-GST credit note, it is called as commercial credit note. Credit note and commercial credit note, these are the only two terms. Please explain once again year-end discounts. Year-end discounts are those discounts which are given at the year end. Okay, but there is a time limit also, which I will explain you, that when you can, by when you can issue a credit note. Now, over the year, whatever I've purchased from April to March, based on my performance, I will give you a discount. So as and when you purchase, so if you purchase 5 lakh worth of goods, 10%. If you purchase 7.5 lakh worth of goods, 15%. If you purchase 10 lakhs worth of goods, 10%, 5%, 7.5%, 10%. Now he's reached a level of 10%. So I will not know at the time of selling itself how much discount he will get, because if he purchases more, he will get more. That is called staggered discount. So I will calculate the full year sales and I will give him the discount. Okay. So once I give him that discount, this is agreed at the time of supply only, right? That I will give him a discount. So when I've agreed, this is in agreement. And what is the other condition? It can be linked to the invoice, because I will give him a percentage. Each can be linked to the each invoices, and proportionate ITC he will reverse, because for him what he has to get the discount, he will reverse the credit. Since these three conditions are satisfied, I will give him 10% discount through a credit note. He can claim the credit. He can reduce his credit to that extent, and I can pay GST less to that extent. Okay. Now, the aspect what we have to see is by when I can give this credit note. It's not that last 3 years credit note I will give now. There is a time limit under GST when I can give a credit note for this discount and reduction of prices. It says for transactions from April to March, you can raise a credit note up till 30th November, the due date on which you will file your October's return. That is by 20th November. You can file it late also. By 30th November, what return you file, in that you can include it. So you can raise a credit note on 31st March itself for the whole year. If you have forgotten on 31st March, you can raise it next year up till the September, up till the October's due dates of returns. Okay. 15.4 and 15.5 further says that where the value of the supply of goods or services cannot be determined under subsection 1, you cannot determine in case of transaction value. That is when you are doing two things. One, you are doing with a related party, or if your price is not the sole consideration, then value shall be determined in such manner as may be prescribed. If you are a third party, non-related party, and price is the sole consideration, then 15.1 you will go, 15.1, 15.2, 15.3 adjustments you'll do. Then when you are not able to satisfy 15.1, then you will go to 15.4. And 15.5 says, notwithstanding anything contained in 15.4, the value of such supplies as may be notified by the government on the recommendation of the council shall be determined in such manner as may be described. It means that when you're not able to determine and 15.4 you have to apply, then government will give you a rate in specified cases. Basically, what does it mean? You have to go to 15.4, you have to go to the valuation rules. You have to go to the rules, which is the rules determining the valuation. When we will go to the valuation rules, when supply is not covered under 15.1, which means the two control conditions are not satisfied. What are those two conditions? Supply covered under 15.1, but transaction is between related parties. My price is perfect, sir, but it is between related parties. Still you have to go to the valuation rules. Or price is not between related parties, but the mandatory adjustments you have not done. Like those 5 things which you have to add, we have not added. Any of those conditions what you have not satisfied, then you have to go to valuation rules. So 15.4 says that when you should go to valuation rules, when your transaction is between related parties, or price is influenced, or price is not the sole consideration. Okay, something else is there, price is not the sole consideration, then you will go to valuation rules. Is there a maximum amount of discount? 100%. Beyond 100% you cannot give. So that is the maximum, otherwise no such maximum cap. Free sample is not covered. Free sample is not covered when you don't get anything, but free sample is covered under schedule 1. Free sample is not covered under schedule 1. Just read the schedule 1 again. It says when you have claimed input tax on some product which you are disposing of. So on input tax on samples, if I don't claim the input tax at all, then it is not a supply. Nagraju, read the schedule 1 again. It says where anything is disposed of on which you have claimed the ITC. But in case of free samples, I will not claim the ITC at all. So on the issuance of free supply, I don't have to pay GST. Okay, now let's get into MCQs and let's take one practical question also. First, MCQs. Ms. Gomati is a trader who supplies watches to Mr. Deepak for a price of 1,000 each. Wholesale price of the watch is 1,500. Retail price of watch sold by Ms. Gomati in the ordinary course of business is 2,000. Ms. Gomati and Deepak are unrelated persons. What is the value of supply? Wow. 2,000, some people are saying. Some people are saying 1,000. And one person is saying 1,500 also. Very confused audience today. For Ms. Gomati, 1,000. Okay. And for Deepak, you mean for what is to the seller and what is to the buyer, it's different? Various prices are given: wholesale price, retail price, and the sale price. But when it is sold to a third person who is not related, the transaction value is the value of supply. In this case, the retail price is 1,000, for wholesale price 1,500, retail price normally is 2,000, but the price what is being charged is 1,000. So the correct answer is 1,000 itself. The transaction value is the value. Okay, correct. Don't get confused with so much numbers what they've given. what is the transaction value that we have to consider? There are a few offers going on Myntra on the occasion of Raksha Bandhan. Oh shit. A very old question of the Raksha Bandhan I have taken. One of the offers is buy more, save more. The customer will get 50% discount if he purchases for a value more than 10,000. 70% discount if he purchases for value more than 30,000. What kind of a discount this is? If it is related person, then you have to go to the valuation rules, not relevant for your exam. But for your question, Nishtala, what is the price you will sell to your normal customers, that will apply. So if you are selling normally at 1,500, then the price will be 1,500. Now you have to decide whether it's a retail sale or a wholesale sale. If it's a wholesale sale, it will become 1,500. If it's a retail sale, it will be 2,000. Good. Everybody is given almost correct answer except few. It is a type of a staggered discount. Mr. Prabhas supplied goods to Miss Anushka for a consideration of 2 lakh with a credit period of 1 month. 1% interest to be charged after expiry of 1 month credit period. Miss Anushka made payment of 2 lakh after expiry of 1 month credit period along with interest at the rate of 1%. What is the value of supply? 2 lakh 2,000 because it is an incidental expense. Correct answer. 1% interest is charged after expiry. So it is 2 lakh 2,000 rupees. Miss Bhavani sold furniture to Miss ABC for a consideration of 1 lakh rupees. She issued an invoice and provided discount of 10,000 without mentioning in the invoice. Now, what is the value of supply? Nenchi, somebody asked your question. What will happen in question number 1 if it is related person? Then you will not take the influence price. What is the price you will normally charge to your customers? If it's a wholesale customer, then it is 1,500. If it's a retail customer, 2,000 rupees. Third MCQ, I will explain, Ashika, just a moment. Fourth one, answer is 1 lakh because it is not included in the value. It's not included in the invoice. So the value is 1 lakh only because the condition is that it should be included in the invoice. Since it's not included, value is 1 lakh. Third question, consideration is 2 lakh and interest is charged. So what will be the interest on 2 lakh? 1% is 2,000 rupees. So the value of supply is 2 lakh 2,000 rupees. Fifth question, Mr. A is a trader of school bags selling. The price of the school bag is 300 per bag. ABC Trust agreed to pay 150 per bag if he sells school bags to poor children at a price of 150 per bag. Mr. A reported the value of supply is rupees 150 per bag in his GST returns. Is his reporting correct? करेक्ट. क्वेश्चन नंबर 3 में हमें डेबिट नोट 1 मंथ के बाद इशू करना पड़ेगा. यू आर राइट. In MCQ3, only 2 lakh is received, yes, and value of supply is 2 lakh 2,000. 2 lakh will be the invoice, and for 2,000, you will raise a debit note 2,000 plus GST. No consideration, no GST, except Schedule 1 transaction dinner. So Schedule 1 में अगर कुछ included है तो फिर रहेगा. Otherwise, no consideration, no supply. 5B. Many people are saying 5B. इतने सारे answer. Yes. So everybody has understood it correctly. Subsidy given by any person other than central government shall be added to the value of supply. Therefore, value of supply is 300 per bag. अगर मैं explanation नहीं देता तो answer इतनी तरफ पे नहीं आता. The answer is not the correct, the one MCQ which will come to your exam. You will have to explain it in some cases. So the value of supply in this case 300. This is the correct answer. Now let's go to other set of MCQs. Value of supply shall not include any discount which is given before the time of supply, at the time of supply, both AB, none of the above. Yeah. Value of supply shall not include both A and B. That's the right answer. C is the right answer. Okay, question number 4. What did somebody ask? 1 minute. Somebody had a doubt on question number 4. Value should be 90,000. Supply should be 1,10,000. If discount is mentioned invoice, then 90,000. No. Supply is for 1 lakh itself, and you're giving a discount of 10,000. Okay. Now, you did not mention in the invoice, so your value is 1 lakh. Not that your value becomes 1 lakh 10,000. The fact itself is 1 lakh value. Then how can you change the facts? Facts are as it is. Okay. Somebody else was asking question number 1. MCQ हिंदी में एक्सप्लेन कीजिए. फर्स्ट MCQ की दो पार्टीज हैं जो अनरिलेटेड हैं. उन्होंने एक पार्टी ने एक और पार्टी को 1,000 रुपए में वॉच बेचा है. उसका होलसेल प्राइस है 1,500 रुपए और उसका रिटेल प्राइस है 2,000 रुपए. तो आपका वैल्यू क्या होगा? दैट इज द क्वेश्चन. कि मैं जब वैल्यू रिटेल प्राइस से भी कम बेचता हूँ, होलसेल प्राइस से भी कम बेचता हूँ, क्या वो वैल्यू हो सकता है? हो सकता है. जीएसटी बोलता है कुछ भी पॉसिबल है, कुछ भी मुमकिन है. जब आपके कस्टमर ने कुछ इन्फ्लुएंस करके आपसे कम प्राइस में लिया है, तो आप जीएसटी ज्यादा पे नहीं पे कर सकते हो. जो ट्रांजैक्शन वैल्यू है उसी पे करना है, तो 1,000 रुपए पे ही पे करना है. अब बिफोर वी गेट इनटू अदर एमसीक्यूज, हम एक काम करते हैं, एक प्रैक्टिकल क्वेश्चंस ले लेते हैं और आप वर्कआउट करके बताइए मुझे कि ये कैसे वर्कआउट करना चाहिए. ओके. ये है क्वेश्चन. होप यू कैन सी द क्वेश्चन. वैल्यू ऑफ सप्लाई ऑफ स्टार लिमिटेड. Yeah. The question is on value of supply. Star Limited is a registered supplier in Karnataka, has provided the following details for supply of one machine. List price of the machine supplied is 80,000 rupees. Tax levied by local authority on sale of this machine is 6,000 rupees. Discount of 2% on the list price was provided, and this was recorded in the invoice of machine. Packing expenses for safe transportation charge is 4,000 rupees. Star Limited received rupees 1,000 as subsidy from NGO on sale of each such machine. The price of 80,000 is after considering such subsidy. During the month of February, Star Limited supplied 3 machines to intrastate customers and 1 machine to interstate customer. Star Limited purchased inputs, which is of intrastate for 1,20,000 rupees, exclusive of GST for supplying the above 4 machines, and the balance of ITC and so and so. The rate is 9%, 9%, 18%. All the amounts given above are exclusive GST. All the conditions necessary for availing ITC has been fulfilled. Compute the minimum net GST payable in cash by Star Limited for the month of February 2020. So based on this facts, what will be the GST payable? Question number 4, what will be the value if discount is mentioned in the invoice? 90,000, right? थैंक यू साक्षी, आपको क्वेश्चन समझ में आ गया तो अच्छी, आंसर भी समझ में आ गया होगा. व्हाट इज द रेट ऑफ जीएसटी? इंटरस्टेट के लिए 18% और इंट्रास्टेट के लिए 9% ईच. ओके. वैल्यू ऑफ सप्लाई विल बी 83,000. आई डोंट थिंक सो. सो एक मशीन का क्या वैल्यू निकाला आपने? लिस्ट प्राइस इज 80,000. Tax levied by local authority we will add. Okay. Okay. List price is 80,000. Taxes levied by local authority we will add 6,000 rupees. So how do you write the answer? You first write the question number, basics. Write the company's name because there'll be multiple questions. So what is the company's name? You mention it. And note one thing, that you don't have to answer in the sequential order, saying first question, then second, then third. In CA exams, which answers you know best and you're confidential, answer that first. It is not compulsory that you have to go by the sequence itself. You could go by any order. Those answer which you are confident of, answer that, so that it takes up less time. Because if your complicated questions takes more time, then those answers for which you know, for those questions which you know the answer, you will be left with very less time. So answer to those questions for which you're comfortable and confident with. That's first thing. Secondly, mention what you're doing. You are doing computation of value of taxable supply. So in the steps carries a lot of marks. Put a heading, put what you're doing so that the examiner will know exactly what you're doing, right? So first we are calculating the value of taxable supply, write the particulars and the amount. List price is 80,000. Tax levied by local authority, anything other than GST, SGST, other taxes has to be added. So add that. Add the packing expenses. Okay. We have added these two. Then add subsidy by the NGO. Since the subsidy is given by the NGO, which is not a central government or state government, we have to add that. So we will add that. 95,000 is the total value. Then we are getting discount of 2%. The question says 2% discount on the list price, not on the total price. This is very important. Read the question thoroughly. When you're working out, read the question thoroughly. So when we read the question, 2% is on list price. List price is 80,000 only. All your additions is there, but the supplier will give you discount on list price only. So reduce the discount on list price, which is 93,400 is your 2% of 80,000, 1,600. If I reduce it, my value per machinery is 93,400. The question says you have sold 3 machines interstate, intrastate, and 1 machine interstate. So 93,400 into 3 machines and 9% each. And input tax on your output tax on my interstate, 93,400 at one on 1 machine at 18%. So total output tax is this. ITC, what I have to set off, I have to give a working note, because opening balance, they say I have 18,000, 4,000, 26,000 each. And this month I have made purchase of 1,20,000 at 9% each. So my input is 28,800, 14,800, 26,000 respectively. My output is this much. First, I will utilize the IGST. So my IGST payable is 16,812. I have a credit of 26,000. I will utilize 16,812. Balance I will use for CGST. Why I'm doing so? Because IGST I can use for, I have to use first. Balance I can use with CGST or SGST in any order. Since I have more CGST, I will first utilize this with the SGST, and my SGST is less. So I will not utilize my IGST with CGST. I will utilize IGST with the CGST first. First, offset this 26,000 with the 16,812. Balance 9,188 I will utilize for my SGST. Second comes set off of ITC of CGST. CGST I can set off only with CGST, not with SGST. So only 25,218 I will utilize. Balance will be carried forward. Then I will utilize the SGST component. Full 14,800 is required, so I will utilize that. The minimum tax payable is 1,230. Any other combination also you can try, because you have to give them answer questions is what is the minimum GST payable. So you can do various options and tell that this you can do as a part of the main question answer itself, and tell that through the various combinations this option is better, and then you will tell this is the GST payable. Yeah, a lot of people doing a lot of mistakes. So once you do this practically, you will get to know. Some people are saying 83,000, which was wrong. The value, nobody gave a correct answer that 93,000. Rohan Kumar is the only one who gave a correct answer of 93,400. Okay, clear with this? So this is how you have to work out step by step. So your theoretical knowledge and your working out will improve by your own self working out. Classes will not help. Classes will give you some guidance on working out, but your working out you have to do yourself. MCQ, last MCQ, Mr. Anmol, was on what kind of discounts are available. Okay, the question was what kind of discount is possible. Value of supply shall not include any discount which is given before the time of supply and at the time of supply. That was the question. Okay. ITC set off, don't worry about it, because once you go to ITC, you will clear it. This was just to say that any chapter is not an independent chapter. It will be used with two concepts. Okay. So to just give you a brief introduction of ITC here, input tax credit is a credit which we can claim on all our purchases. So in this question, I have claimed all my input tax credit. I had opening balance of input tax credit and I have availed this credit. Now, when I avail the credit, okay, I can utilize this credit through various means. IGST credit I can use for payment of IGST first, and any balance left I can use for payment of CGST and SGST. So IGST is universal. First, utilize IGST with IGST payable, then balance you can utilize with CGST and SGST. CGST credit you can utilize for payment of CGST, then with IGST. So like with like, then dislikes. IGST so first IGST को credit देगा, CGST first CGST को credit देगा, SGST first SGST को credit देगा, then with any other credits. CGST cannot give credit to SGST, SGST cannot give credit to CGST. CGST और SGST आपस में तालमेल नहीं है. They don't handshake with each other. ठीक है? So I had liability. This liability till here you understood. Now we have to pay this through credit. So first you will utilize the IGST credit. IGST balance is 26,000. Liability is 16,800. Use with this. From 26,000 minus 16,812 when I do, balance is 9188. I can utilize with CGST or SGST. Which is a better way to do? CGST में already credit पड़ा है to the extent of 28,800. So why will you utilize the IGST excess credit with CGST? You will not utilize. You will utilize it with the SGST itself. So 16,812 का balance जो होता है, that you are utilizing with SGST. Fine. Then comes ITC set off of CGST. 28,800 पड़ा है, उसमें से यहाँ पे निकाल लो, because you have to pay only 25,218. So you'll reduce this from this 28,800 you will take and pay your CGST liability. Fine. Balance कितना बचता है? 28,800 minus 25,218 will be your closing balance, which will become opening balance next year. The credit gets transferred to the next month's balance. बट SGST में आपका 9188 पे हो गया 25,218 से, बैलेंस आपको 14,800 ही है. Actually the payable is 16,030 if you reduce this, but आपके पास credit है 14,800, take this 14,800 as full balance this much is payable in cash. Okay, clear now? CGST and SGST can be used to set off against the IGST. Yes, first utilize your any liability with CGST, then with IGST. IGST can be set off with CGST and SGST or vice versa. Yes. No, not vice versa. IGST only with IGST, then with CGST and SGST. A practical sochiye Aisha, if you're not able to grasp it, read it again and see how to apply it practically, then you'll be able to understand it. Yes, opening balance is given in lakhs. No, opening balance in the question was given in INR. They didn't mention in lakhs. They mentioned in INR, so we applied it. Yeah, in the question it is given 80,000 price is after considering 5,000 subsidy. Then why this is adding in the solution? Okay. It is after considering, which means after considering मतलब subsidy जब मिलता है, my price comes down, right? So I have reduced my list price because I got a subsidy. Now this subsidy is not received from the central government, so I have to add back. Okay, that is the important aspect here. When they say subsidy is considered, it means my price is reduced because of this subsidy, but this subsidy is not a allowable subsidy, so I have to add it back. Clear? CGST balance cannot be used to pay SGST. Yes, it cannot be used. Can you first use CGST to set off IGST? That should generally not be done because IGST credit has to be fully exhausted. That's why you will go with the step of utilizing IGST first. Divya, your doubt is cleared? Discount amount will change. Discount amount will never change because discount is on the list price itself. The list price is a list price. Discount will not change because it is already after considering this subsidy. How is 28,800 getting offset? So 28,800 is the CGST you will utilize for payment of CGST. So 28,800 is getting offset with 25,218. Balance is carried forward. If subsidy was given by by central government or state government, then we will not add. You're right. Subsidy is given from list price. Yes. So it means my pricing is already considered. The question says pricing is already considered, then list price is announced. Oh, no claim bonus. Good question. So there was another aspect of no claim bonus wherein when I issue a insurance policy and somebody has not claimed the benefit of the policy, then I can give a benefit on my next year's premium, which is called as no claim bonus. So this no claim bonus is like a discount. So in case of insurance premiums, when I give a no claim bonus, I can mention in the policy, the invoice as no claim bonus, which is equivalent to discount, reduce the no claim bonus and balance shall be paid. Okay. So the no claim bonus in case of insurance companies is the premium value less the no claim bonus. On the balance, I have to pay the GST. CGST can't be adjusted with SGST. Yes, it can't be. Can businessman pay GST plus income tax when crosses his business just about 50,000? No such concept, Abdul. Can you give one more type question? And is my answer is right? ITC balance CGST 350, cash payable SGST 1230 and IGST. You're right. How do we calculate GST in case of transaction between related parties and no consideration? So there, in case where the transaction is between related parties and no consideration, still you have to pay GST, right? So in that case, you go with the open book value. So GST rule says that something called as open book value, which means what is the price of this product when I sell it on open market? What is that price that will get assigned? That is called as open book value, which open market value, OMV, which will get assigned then. Okay. How many months can we carry forward ITC? You can carry forward for any months, no time limit as such. Once you claim the ITC, you can carry forward for any period of time, no time limit. Okay. Thank you very much. I will see you after this month end. I will come back in March. Okay. To take other topics, but in the interim, there'll be somebody else who will take the other topics. Chapter 6, Aisha, you can message it on the group. I will answer your specific questions. Time validity for no claim bonus. This month's no claim will be adjusted next month. So it's only the insurance companies don't give bonus of 2 to 3 years. 1 year's thing, they give it in the next year itself. That's the concept of no claim bonus. Good. Thank you very much. Number I've already shared in the first session. Please see the recording. You'll get to know. Thank you. Thank you very much.